This is crazy because it don't line up any wilder than this for the Baltimore Ravens. Like, this is easier than a layup, man. It don't get no more simpler than this. Bring my guy, hashtag JC24. Well, he probably had to change his number, but bring my guy Jadeveon Clowney back. We're going to talk about him. Rob Gronkowski was almost a Baltimore Raven. Malaki Starks already talking his trash. We got our first injury to talk about as well. Team Keep It Clean. We got so much to cover. Let's get straight into it. So the Panthers, they say, hey, Ravens, here, take them, please. The Panthers are releasing our guy, hashtag JC24, Jadeveon Clowney, and he is now a free agent. The comp pick formula is dead. That's done. That's over with. So you ain't got to worry about whoever you sign counting against the comp pick formula. Jadeveon Eric DeCosta, do it, man. Do it. You were trying to get Calais Campbell back. So you want somebody who can provide exterior and interior pressure. That's Jadeveon Clowney all day. More so exterior pressure, but he can do both. He's still good at stopping the run. He's still good at being a pass rusher. Ravens, do it. He had 5.5 sacks last year for the Panthers. You think he wanted to play? I know he wanted to be closer to his family. But at 5.5 sacks for the Panthers, and as bad as they were, and Jadeveon Clowney was probably just chilling over there, man, just collecting a check. If he comes to the Baltimore Ravens, he's still getting paid a good amount of money from the Panthers from his deal. So, one, you ain't going to have to pay him no crazy amount of money. Two, it'll be a Jadeveon Clowney, and y'all know y'all can get that fire lit under him yet again like y'all did before. Remember when I told y'all to do it, and y'all did it? And a lot of people doubt it. A lot of people say, Jadeveon Clowney, he's washed. He don't care. He don't give no effort. He's this, he that, and he shut everybody up. Well, except me, because I was the one hyping him up. And he lived up to all expectations. He surpassed expectations. Ravens, it just makes too much sense. Yes, we still got Kyle Vanoy. Yes, we got Adolphe Way in a contract here. But we just drafted Mike Green as well. But then, after those three, even Mike Green, he ain't proven yet, so we got to see. But you got a lot of question marks on the team at pass rush. You got Adisa Isaac, who you don't know much about yet because he didn't get much of an opportunity. You got David Ajabo, who hasn't quite lived up to expectations yet. But can you really bank on that being behind Adolphe Way, being behind Mike Green, being behind Kyle Vanoy? No, you bring in Jadeveon Clowney to short things up. You bring in Jadeveon Clowney because you know that he can be like that. And one of the most important reasons you bring in a Jadeveon Clowney is for me. Because this could be the offseason where the Baltimore Ravens, y'all know, if y'all been around here, y'all know who two of my favorite players in the NFL are. Two of them. The Baltimore Ravens, a couple years ago, they signed one, and that was Jadeveon Clowney. This offseason, they signed the other one, which was DeAndre Hopkins. Why don't you bring them both together at the same time? Ravens, spin the block. Team Keep It Clean. If y'all ain't know by now, then trust me, I am more than ready for the Ravens to sign Jadeveon Clowney yet again. It just makes too much sense, man. But anyway, somebody who the Baltimore Ravens, they were trying to get years ago was Rob Gronkowski. And he spoke on that. Let's listen to exactly what he had to say.
The Baltimore Ravens were going to pick me. I think it was a 25th pick that they had in the draft. But then Denver and Josh McDaniels came scooping in and traded with the Baltimore Ravens. The Denver Broncos took Tim Tebow. I just got booted out of the first round. The Ravens have the 43rd pick now. Well, then the New England Patriots got a sniff of it, and they traded up one spot before the Baltimore Ravens at number 42, where I got drafted. I also heard through a grapevine that if I didn't get drafted to the New England Patriots, Greg Olsen was going to get traded that day for a draft pick to the New England Patriots because the Patriots were looking for a tight end.
Now, just imagine that for a second. If Rob Gronkowski, instead of going to the Patriots, if he would have came to the Baltimore Ravens. Now, we have these conversations a lot when it comes to wide receivers. And I got to shut them all down because when I think about the old Baltimore Ravens, not the current Baltimore Ravens, but the old Baltimore Ravens drafting some receivers who they could have been and were interested in, like a Cooper Kupp or even like a Stephon Diggs. When I think about receivers like those, if they were drafted by the Baltimore Ravens, I say no, because they would not have ended up the receivers that they are now if the Ravens would have got them back then, because them old Ravens, they ain't have a good way of developing wide receivers back then. But now, we certainly got it. But I say something different, much different when it comes to the tune and the song of a Rob Gronkowski. Because you look at somebody like a Todd Heap. You also look at Dennis Pitta. You even look at Ed Dixon. And of course, more recently, you look at Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely. But Rob Gronkowski, my goodness, that would have been filthy. The Baltimore Ravens would have got a because with Gronkowski, man, he was just such a cheat code, man, because he was huge. He wasn't the slowest. He wasn't like fast or anything like that, but he could move well enough for a big tight end, man. He had hands. He would give you the stiff arm like crazy. Rob Gronkowski, he was one of them guys. And whenever you saw a team, whether it was the Ravens or whoever going against Rob Gronkowski, you knew he was getting the ball, but at the same time, you really still couldn't stop him. He was just one of them guys, man. So if we could have had that guy on our team, if he would have been a Baltimore Raven, give him the Hall of Fame jacket right now. And yes, I know Rob Gronkowski is a Hall of Famer with the Patriots, but still, if he would have been with the Baltimore Ravens, he sure would have been unlocked to get there anyway. But on to somebody who could maybe one day, I need to pump the brakes a little bit, but maybe one day he could make it to the Hall of Fame, and that could be Malaki Starks. I know he ain't take a snap yet, but he got some Hall of Fame pride in his chest, and I love it. He got that dog in him, literally, because Malaki Starks, he was asked, which quarterback are you looking forward to picking off the most? Which quarterback you looking forward to taking it to the house? And he said, Josh Allen. Oh, that boy's a Raven for real. That boy Malaki Starks is a Raven for real. Reason I say that is because we know what Josh Allen and them Bills put us through last year. Really, I feel like the Ravens, they put themselves through it. But Josh Allen and the Bills, they certainly contributed. But he knows that we as Ravens fans, we don't like Josh Allen. We respect him. We respect everybody. But we don't like him. As an opponent, but we respect him. Okay, do your thing. But anyway, we don't like Josh Allen. And we love seeing the Bills lose. So Malaki, hey, I hope that you get exactly what you want and you get to intercept Josh Allen all day, every day, whenever we play the Bills, because I believe they are on our schedule this year, I'm pretty sure. So Malaki, don't just talk about it, be about it. And don't only make it happen once, but make it happen again and again and again. And if you want to pick off every single quarterback that we go against this season, be our guest. Now, we see what the Pittsburgh Steelers are doing. They already in tank mode because they trying to get that number 1 overall draft pick, because the draft next year is in Pittsburgh. So it's going to be all that hype in Pittsburgh, and it's going to be extra hype around who they're going to take at number 1. But the following year, it's going to be in D.C. They already done announced it. So it's like, okay, the draft seems to be getting closer and closer. Obviously, closeness with the AFC North rivals, the Pittsburgh Steelers, but then literally close up the street down the road with the Washington Commanders. But the Ravens were like, you know what? Pittsburgh getting in on the action. Commanders getting in on the action. We want a piece of the pie too. And when I saw this, I said, well, I would have never thought. But the Ravens say, oh no, we think different. Says the Ravens explore hosting the draft in 2029, 2030, or 2031. So the Ravens trying to put that bid in. Let's read this article from Pro Football Talk. It said, with Washington, D.C. hosting the 2027 NFL Draft, Baltimore wants to get in on the act too. Via Todd Karpovich of the Baltimore Sun, the Maryland Stadium Authority is exploring the possibility of hosting the draft in 29, 30, or 31. Ravens president Sashi Brown has said the team will eventually make a pitch to host the draft. I remember when the Ravens first hired Sashi Brown, because he came from the Browns. A lot of Ravens fans were like, oh man, what are we doing hiring this guy from the Browns? What's he going to do? That boy been making some business moves though, ain't he? He been making some business moves, so shout out to Sashi. Anyway, it said, for now, the process is in the exploratory phase. The 2026 draft will be held in Pittsburgh. Nothing is set beyond 2027. So, he said, every city that wants to host a draft should get a fair crack at doing so. The variety has become part of the appeal of the traveling roadshow that started 10 years ago when a scheduling conflict forced the draft out of Radio City Music Hall and prompted a 2-year stint in Chicago. Since then, it's been a different city every year. Philadelphia, Dallas, Nashville, Cleveland, Las Vegas, Kansas City, Detroit, and Green Bay have each had a turn, and I love that for Baltimore. I really hope Baltimore, I hope they get it. I hope they get it because, that would be great. And that'd be different too, because Baltimore is not a big market city. But if they could get oh man, that would boost it a lot. So we rooting for it. Whether it's in 29, I hope it's in 29. So I hope it's ASAP. Whether it's 29, 30, or 31, Ravens, don't stop trying. Make sure, if you haven't done so already, you leave a like on the video and you subscribe to the channel because I don't want you missing a single thing. Now, we don't reach my favorite part of these videos where you get to feature your questions. If you would like to take part in it, you can send an email to teamkeepitclean@gmail.com. For the patrons, you can send it on Patreon. And everybody else, if you want to support the channel in any single way, everything is down below in the description. If y'all ever want to send something to us, the mailing address is down below in the description. Anything you want to do to support, just by watching, you supporting. Just by subscribing, you supporting. Just by leaving a like on the video, you supporting. But I appreciate y'all. I love you. Let's get into it. First question came from my guy, Solutions for Kicks. Man, I ain't heard from you in a little minute, man. I'll be seeing you in the comment section sometime, but I ain't heard from you in a little minute. So it's good to hear from you. He said, Ingraven, it's been a minute since I sent a question. It has been. It's been like longer than a minute. It's been like an hour. Maybe 2 hours. Anyway, he said, my nephew and I, Baltimore natives who live in Texas, and we love your channel. We had a bit of a debate. This is a long one. I'm all for a debate. Healthy debate, respectful debate. But I'm all for a debate. But shout out to you and your nephew. I appreciate both of y'all for real, man. Seriously, I appreciate y'all. Thank you. He said, has EDC surpassed Ozzie in draft quality and free agent signings? Let's see. He said, I say yes, he has. And the foundational point is the quality of wide receiver has gotten dramatically better over the last 4 years. Now, with that, I will say, yeah, at wide receiver, as far as not only the drafting, more so the development. The development, because now the Baltimore Ravens are really like investing in their own wide receivers. And they like, hey, no, we're going to have our own guys out there. Now, EDC did have some years early on where he had some vets out there and whatnot. He had a mix of vets and young guys. But now it's still been a mix of both. But he's really pushing the development of Zay Flowers, really pushing the development of Rashad Bateman. Anyway, continuing, he said, I say yes, he has, and the foundational point is the quality of wide receiver has gotten dramatically better over the last 4 years. Zay is the first Ravens Pro Bowl wide receiver in their history. That may sound like an accomplishment, but it's also an indictment on how middling the position has been in their history. Yeah, that's true. But anyway, he said, EDC broke the cycle of kicking the tires on some 13-year vet wide receivers and signing them to a 2-year deal. Oops, we signed DeAndre Hopkins 4 years too late, so toss that out, LOL. No, man. DeAndre Hopkins still got it. I'm telling y'all, man. It's like I told y'all about Jadeveon Clowney. He still got it. EDC, he still got it. But DeAndre Hopkins, he still got it too. Remember his situation last year. He started with the Titans. They were all kinds of bad. I think the year before, he got a stat. He got 1,000 yards with the Titans. Got 1,000 yards, like 8 touchdowns, I think, something like that. So he went crazy. DeAndre Hopkins has shown throughout his career, no matter who the quarterback is, he will still produce. But last year, Titans, bad. All kinds of bad. What happened? Traded them to Kansas City for what, a 5th-round pick, something like that. But Kansas City offense last year, they were not the normal offense that they typically are. They were bad too. So he got traded to that offense in the middle of the year, had to learn the playbook in the middle of the year, and he still went out there and was solid. So it ain't like he fell off. We got to think about his situation. But now he's with the Ravens, signed with the Ravens in the offseason. So he has the entire offseason to learn the playbook, has the entire offseason to get chemistry with Lamar. And you know Lamar Jackson, right? You know who he is, right? You know how he does, right? I'm pretty sure you do. So when you see the way that he aids in the development of wide receivers now, and DeAndre it's gonna get nasty. It's gonna get nasty, man. Because I always think about how last year I'm like, all right, Lamar, chemistry with Zay Flowers, check. Chemistry with Rashad Bateman, check. Yeah, those are top 2 receivers. Of course, he's gonna have chemistry with those guys. Nelson Aguilar, check. Nelson Aguilar been here the past couple of years. Of course, he's gonna have chemistry with him. Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews, yeah, no brainer. Justice Hill, yeah, of course. But then you inserted Derrick Henry in there. Chemistry, boom. All right, they had a whole offseason. Cool. And Derrick Henry's a starter. Obviously, they practice a bunch of handoffs. They practice passing and catching, all that offseason. Okay, cool. But then the end of the season, the season is on the line. Rashad Bateman out. Zay Flowers out. Moves down the field with Anthony Miller, Tylan Wallace. They are not starters at all. Steven Sims, I think, was out there a little bit too. But he moves right down the field with them, getting them involved in the passing game, showing that he had chemistry with everybody from top to bottom. Even Tez Walker a little bit that he was on the field too. So DeAndre Hopkins, him being our third wide, boy, it's about to be nasty, man. It really is. Anyway, he said, however, we've said in Ozzie we trust for years before EDC. I don't think we trusted the Elvis Gerback signing, the Bowler draft pick, and any wide receivers. This guy. And any wide receiver drafted not named Torrey Smith. Yes, there's Ray Lewis, there's Ed Reed, Jonathan Ogden, Terrell Suggs, and even Flacco as resume material, but he has to be graded for the face palms too. I think it's tough to compare. I mean, you can obviously compare the two, but EDC's only been at this thing since 2019. So that's 19, 20, 21, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, he already got 7 drafts. Wow. Time be flying, man. That is crazy. He already got 7 drafts. Now, what I will say is that Ozzie's last draft, and Eric DeCosta was still in the building, so he was helping out with the draft. So it ain't like Eric DeCosta, even though he just technically took over drafting because he took over as GM, it ain't like he wasn't a part of what Ozzie did too. So we can't forget that. But I feel like Ozzie Newsome's last draft, it made life easier for Eric DeCosta as a general manager. Why? Because Ozzie drafted the best in the game, that being Lamar Jackson. And we know Lamar Jackson, he makes so many things go for the Baltimore Ravens. He makes life a whole lot easier for a lot of different positions, offense and defense for the Baltimore Ravens. And his impact on this team has been monumental.